Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it. What's something you would do differently if you could start over in coaching today?
Good question. Well, it's funny. I think I ended up in the right place by accident, and I'll explain that. When I first started, I was Buzz Williams. I was going to be the college coach. That's all I ever wanted to be. High school was a little below me. Pro, it's sleazy, disgusting. Back in the 70s and 80s, it was sleazy, disgusting basketball, right? So over the course of time, I remember Ron Powell. I was a volunteer assistant down at South Oak Cliff High School, and Ron said, if you're going to go to college, you got to go now or you got to go when you retire. Because in the meantime, in between the bell curve of the money, you'll make too much money in between to get a job. I mean, who's going to pay a high school coach $100,000 first year on a college staff? It'd have to be probably a Power 5, right? More than likely, right? So anyway, he talked about that. So basically what happened was I got a good high school job and started making some money. And I think I ended up in the right spot because of that, because I really thought college was the angle. So I think by accident, I was lucky because like I said, I would either be Buzz Williams making $8 million a year, $6 million a year, or I'd be the guy. Have you seen the movie The Scheme?
No.
Oh, write this down. Please write this down right now. The Scheme. It's on HBO Max. It's that Christian Dawkins movie about, he was the runner for Andy Miller. They got all those 4 college coaches on a wiretap.
Okay.
Remember the Oklahoma State coach, Chuck Person down at Auburn, somebody out at USC, blah, blah, blah. You got to watch it.
Okay.
And, I would have either been making $6 million a year, or I'd be the guy who got caught by the FBI because I think I just ended up by God's will, serendipity, and good fortune. I kind of ended up in the right place. And now if you look at it now, I look completely different. Now, I've been saying for 15 years that college is professional basketball. Well, now it is because you have a portal and an NIL. So officially it's professional basketball. And I've said for 10 or 15 years, high school is college because everyone's recruiting, right? So now if I got a job, the only job I want in basketball really, if I could get if Matt gets a GM job in the NBA, he's one step away from getting a head GM and he hired me to scout. I'd like to do that. Or if I could do the agent deal overseas. Yeah. Because agent, you're representing a product and it's a marketing concept, and that I like. And on a pro level, look, have you ever seen the movie Moneyball?
Oh yeah, love it.
Okay, remember that scene when he's trying to coach Jonah about how to release a player, right? And he's fumbling all over himself. He goes, "Oh, stop. Let's flip roles." Man, I gotta let you go. I know you got a lot of good basketball left. It's just not going to be here. So listen, I want you to see our traveling secretary. She's got your ticket. I want to wish you the best of luck. You call me anytime. Just you let me know what I can do. You take care of yourself because that's a business. We don't have to have this charade. Remember when Jerry Tarkanian was doing his Father Flanagan thing? I just want to help the poor and privileged Black youth of America. Well, then give Urkel a scholarship, not just Stacey Augmon and Larry Johnson, man. Come on, man. Breaking that crap. So now that I come back and look at it, the way it's turned out, every level of basketball now is professional. It really is. It's really disgusting. It's really pretty disgusting. And if you have a great player right now, what's the likelihood you can keep him 4 years? Richardson, Texas seems to have something in the water up there. Yeah. Kayshawn Wallace stayed. Rylan Griffin stayed. Kid from Drew Timme stayed, right?
Yeah, he was at J.J. Pierce, I think. But yeah, Richardson, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Richardson, somehow, they're all making it. What's his name? Miles Turner. He went to that basketball powerhouse known as Trinity. That's a joke. This football powerhouse full of Samoan kids. Yeah. He somehow made the NBA. Yeah. You don't have to go to those places. In fact, what's funny? The kid that came back, the Plano kid. What was his name? The kid that came back, about 6'7" kid. He came back from Oak Hill Academy about halfway through the season. And his dad was dangling him at West.
I don't know.
Anyway, the long story short was, he validated what I've said for years. Everyone that watches Oak Hill Academy and Montverde, they always see the number 1 draft pick, but they only can play 5 guys. There's still 5 or 6 guys in those schools who ain't playing at all, and that was that kid. He went for 2 years to Oak Hill, didn't play very much, and came back to his high school. Well, Kyler Edwards plays for University of Houston now, played for Texas Tech before that. He was at Bowie when I was down there, right? Well, he verbally committed to Bowie, then he leaves to go to verbally committed to Texas Tech, I'm sorry. He goes out to Findlay Prep, and guess where he ends up going to college? Texas Tech. Weren't you going there in the first place? With this idea that we have to travel around to improve our brand and our man. I wish that every parent who's marketing, I want to hang quotes, marketing their kid would understand that if you did the same thing to a beautiful young lady in a tight mini skirt, what we would call you because it's the same thing.
Yeah.
The same thing.
I like the idea of if you're good enough, they'll find you. And I think that's
that
been
was the
lost
case
a
before,
little
and
bit.
it's certainly the case now.
Yeah.
It's certainly the case. Okay, John Morant, flew under the radar a little bit. Okay. They found him, didn't they? And here's another poison pill for the kids. If my high school coach or my mom or my dad or whoever hustles me onto an EYBL team, I will therefore then be seen as an EYBL player, which goes me to a Power 5 conference. But let's go through the list of people that those people never heard of. Did they ever hear of Luka Doncic before he showed up? Did they ever hear of all the bigs, all the European kids, all the Congolese kids? Anybody ever heard of those guys? Jonathan Kuminga. You never heard of that name, right?
No.
Okay. Jonathan Kuminga grew up in Lubumbashi, right down the road from my wife. Oscar Shibwe is the kid going back to Kentucky. Same thing, right? And there's all kinds of people. I've never heard of any of those kids. Yeah. So when they get there, Micah Peavy, the kid Micah Peavy was interviewed by someone who said that his dad told him, he said, if you really want to have an impact at TCU, play defense because you're better at that, and that gives you time to catch up on the offensive end, which is good coaching advice. And I kind of felt bad for Micah because he might have mentioned it, but he took a picture with Jemias Ramsey, RJ Hampton, and himself, and they were all three going to the league. Well, RJ's hanging by a string. Jemias is not going to make it, and you're at your second school. What's really disgusting is the idea that every time an eighth grader dunks, someone says, "Man, you a pro! Man, you a pro!" Because if you say that to everyone, it's the broken watch theory. Broken watch tell the right time twice a day. If you say it sooner or later, you're going to say, I was the first one to tell you that I saw it, or I have vision. And I just think it's just disgusting. Yeah. And I'm so glad I'm out of it. I don't mean that in like a self-righteous way. And I was fortunate because I saved enough money and I invested well, and I got married late to the right woman instead of early to the wrong woman, and just things fell in line the right way. But I feel bad because I'll never forget Dave Peeler down at Highland Park, was one of my very best buds, man. He was at Clark High School when I was at Shepton when we first broke in. And we talked about 7-8 years ago, and he said, T.I., aren't you glad this isn't the first 5 years of your career instead of the last 5? And I said, oh my God. That's why if you're a young coach and you love the game, take the time to have a relationship with the kids, because it's a buffer between them and between you and their parents. Take the time to be honest, because the truth never has a bad day, right? And if things don't go your way, they don't go your way. But don't tap dance around it, because you'll be miserable. If you're going to try to play politics and keep everyone happy for 25 years, you're going to be an average husband, an average father, and a really bad coach.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.